This is a great question because it's going to allow us to practice all of our statistics knowledge in one place. Some people want to try to look for a shortcut here. I don't think there is one. And if there were, I wouldn't trust it. We're at the point of the test where things are getting harder. The SAT is more likely to try to trick us and mess with our instincts. So I wouldn't want to try to just look at this and see if I can figure out the answer. I don't think that the actual process for solving it takes very long. We just need to find the mode, the median, and the mean and put them in order. So I'm going to show you my ways of doing each of these things so that way you can hopefully use that as an efficient way to solve this in your own life. So the easiest thing to look for is the mode, right? Because the mode is just the most common number. So the most common number is the mode. And that in this case is, we go by the frequency, is 18, right? Because there are 6 18s. That's what this means, is we have the age, that's what we care about. But then we have the frequency, which tells us that if we listed out all these ages, all these people, we would have 6 people who are 18 years old. Okay, so that's how we distinguish between the two columns, where the mean, the median, and mode are always going to be ages, but we use the frequencies to figure out what we're dealing with. Let's do median next. Median next. So when I have a frequency chart like this, remember the median is the middle number when we arrange them in order from least to greatest. And they're in order from least to greatest, right? 18 is on the top, 30 is on the bottom. But remember, I can't just cross them out like I did in school and just be like, okay, get rid of 18, 30, 19, 23, 20, 22, median is 21. Can't do that because we don't have one of each age. We have 6 18s. We have 5 19s. We've got to account for that. So let me get rid of all that and show you how I do it. I count 1 and 1 until I cross out a row, right? So if I count 118 and 130, that's going to cross out the 30s because there is only 130. So now there's no more 30s, but there are still 5 18s. So I got to add another 18, and that 18 cancels out the 23s because there's only one person who's 23. And again, 18, we've got 3 of them so far, is also going to cancel out the 22s. So that goes away. Let's do it again. This time, the 4th person who is 18 cancels out one of the people who is 21. So we don't cross out that row just yet. Now we do the 5th person who is 18 cancels out the last person who's 21. So now those are all gone. And I'm just going to pause there to note, look at the number of tally marks I have on each side. On the top, there are 5 tally marks. On the bottom, there are 5 tally marks. They're spread out more because there's a larger spread of ages at the bottom, but it's still 5 numbers on the top and 5 numbers on the bottom that I've crossed out. Now I can finish off the 18s with the 6th person, and that gets rid of that, and it gives me 1 of the 20s. And now I go to the 19s, so 119 crosses out with 120. 119 again, 120. 119 a third time, and there are the end of the 20s, right? Now I've got my 4th 20, and I do still have 2 19s left, which would cross each other out, which tells me that the median is 19. Both of those 19s are the middle numbers. So that's how I find the median. I'm doing these little tally marks, but I'm also crossing out the rows as I go. Last but not least is the mean. And this is where I'm really into being organized. Remember, the mean is just another word for average. So I need to do the sum of the numbers over the number of numbers, right? So I know the number of numbers is 20. They told me that right here. They usually tell you, if not, just add up all the frequencies and you're going to get the same number. But the sum also needs to take into account the frequencies, right? So this is again where people make mistakes, is they ignore the frequency part of this. So there's not just 118. There's 6 of them. There's not just 119, there's 5. Plus, we can't, when we add them up, we're not adding up the fact that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows, right? So it's not a 7 on the bottom because there's 7 different ages. It's 20 because there's 20 players. So to stay organized, here's what I do. I do it row by row. If I want to add up all the 18s, I'm going to do 18 times 6. And I literally do this. This is not just me showing my work here for your benefit. I literally do this. So 18 times 6 is 108. 19 times 5 is 95. 20 times 4 is 80. 21 times 2 is 42. And then 22 times 1 is 22. 23 times 1 is 23. 30 times 1 is 30. And now I've gotten all those little mini sums, I get a big sum of all those numbers. So 108 plus 95 plus 80 plus 42 plus 22 plus 23 plus 30 is 400. So now I can calculate my mean by doing 400 divided by 20, and it's 20. So that one's a little bit more annoying, because we got to do a lot of different things. And now we can just put them in order. So what is the least? The mode is the least, then the median, then the mean. So mode is the least, then the median, then the mean. So that gets me choice A. Whew, it's a time-consuming question. There's not really a good way to do it other than to just kind of practice finding mean, median, and mode from these charts, these frequency charts, and getting good at doing it. So that you know kind of what you're doing. I would not try to cut corners. I would really write this stuff out. I would show the tally marks. I would write out the numbers, because if something doesn't work out, I have more places where I can look at what I've done and see why doesn't it work out. It also gives me more pauses. Little pauses here and there just give your brain that extra second to be like, wait, I forgot to take into account the frequency. Wait, I've got the wrong number on the bottom of the average equation, right? Those little things can make a big difference. So in my experience, the few seconds you waste writing all this stuff out is saved in points, or more accurately, when you do make a mistake, you don't need to do the whole question over again because you've shown your work, and so you don't end up doing double the amount of time to make it up. You can kind of save the time and just do the step that you messed up. So it runs counter to the way a lot of you do math. A lot of you think that anything you write down is a waste of time and it's going to cause problems later on. But I would rather you be accurate and careful and get as many points as possible that you know you can get, rather than rush to the end and then make careless mistakes along the way and still get a lot of the hard ones wrong later. So it's all about just maximizing points. Take the time here, it's worth it, and you'll probably still see an improvement in score even if you end up skipping a couple of hard ones at the end. This is not a hard question in my book. This is just about memorizing and being careful and using the calculator. That's it.